The VBP Plus Extra Label Drug Use Prescription Template is a document that producers can use to show veterinary oversight when they are using a drug in a way that is not indicated directly on the label of the product. For example, if you're using a different dosage, you're treating for some kind of different disease that isn't indicated on the label, or maybe treating a different class of animal. Oftentimes, your vet will give you a document to show a prescription for extra label drug use, but if this isn't the case, you can use this template to walk through with your vet and show this oversight, or use it to document some other type of communication that you've had with your vet to provide a prescription, such as a phone call or a text message. The first step on the template is to fill in the information for your veterinary clinic. You'll want to fill in the name of the clinic, their address, and phone number, and this information is just to show which clinic you have a veterinary client-patient relationship with so that you can show this oversight. From there, you'll want to fill in the date for the prescription. It's important to note that ELDU prescriptions are used for a limited case only. It's not an infinite sort of catch-all to use a drug in a certain way. It's really about a specific case where your veterinarian is instructing you to use a drug in a different way. So you'll fill in the date to show a reference point for when the prescription is applicable. The next step is to fill in the owner name. So this could be your farm name, or if you don't have one, then just your name as the producer goes in this spot. And again, just to show that this prescription is specific to you. From there, you'll need to fill in the number of animals that the prescription covers. Again, ELDU prescriptions are to cover a particular case of using a medication. So you want to fill in the number of animals that you're planning to use it on so that it's not just that infinite catch-all like we talked about before. Then you'll want to fill in the name of the product or drug that you're using, followed by the amount or quantity of the product that is prescribed for the intended expectation to treat. So how much total are you going to need to cover all of the animals that you're planning to treat based on the dosage included below this? Next is the biggest section on the document, and that is the directions for the prescription. So this needs to include three main things, and that is the reason for the treatment or the diagnosis. So what are we treating for under this prescription? The dosage, so how much are we delivering to each animal or based on weight? And the route, are we giving it intramuscular, sub-Q? All of these things can affect how we use the drug and the withdrawal date, so it's important to note these in the prescription as well. The next thing to record on the template is the withdrawal time. It's important to note that you can't just pull this number off the label if you're using a drug off label. So for example, if we're treating with a drug using it intramuscularly when ordinarily it should be given sub-Q, that can actually change the withdrawal time. So it's important that you check with your vet to make sure that you're using an updated withdrawal time and putting that on this prescription. Next is the section for any precautions. So are there any things that we need to be aware of or warnings where we shouldn't be using this or avoiding contact? So in this case, I've just put an example of maybe we can't treat a particular class of animals. And finally, the last section in this little table is refills. So how many more times can you use this prescription to get the same drug for the same purpose, for the same number of animals, all the same circumstances? Finally, the bottom section is where we're going to want to record how we got this veterinarian oversight. The first line is where you record the method of communication. In this case, we'll say that the prescription was delivered by a text message, but this could be something like email, phone call, or an in-person meeting. Veterinary signature is an optional field. In this spot, if your vet is with you or they come by afterwards to sign it, that shows an extra degree of oversight, but it's not required because sometimes, say if you live in a remote area, it's not always possible to get that in-person meeting with a vet when you are desperate and need to treat an animal right away to preserve their health and well-being. And finally, we have a spot to record the veterinarian name, whether or not they're able to make it there in person so we know who's giving the prescription. That's all there is to the VBP Plus Extra Label Drug Use Prescription Template. For more producer resources, be sure to check out our producer resources section at www.verifiedbeef.ca.